Welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. In this one, I'm going to go through the page on the NHS England website entitled COVID-19 Daily Deaths. There are other datasets concerning COVID-19 deaths from the government and the Office of National Statistics websites, which I will go through in future episodes. All the links for this episode are in the description as per normal. Before looking at the data, I recommend you reading the document called COVID-19 Daily Deaths, Frequently Asked Questions. Okay, so from the website, this is the description. This section contains information on deaths of patients who have died in hospitals in England and had either tested positive for COVID-19 or where COVID-19 was mentioned on the death certificate. All deaths were recorded against the date of death rather than the date the deaths were announced. This page offers two spreadsheets for download. The first is COVID-19 Total Announced Deaths, 29th of March 2021. This contains data from March the 1st, 2020 to the present day and is updated daily. Warning, this file contains a lot of data. It takes my copy of OpenOffice Calc about half an hour or so to open it. The second is COVID-19 Total Announced Deaths, 25th of March 2021 weekly file. It appears to be released every Thursday containing the data up to 4 p.m. on the Wednesday before. I will go through each of these in this order. This is the first spreadsheet I was talking about, and it's entitled COVID-19 Total Deaths by Date of Death. And basically we've got two figures here. The first one is tested positive for COVID at time of death, and that gives you the total figure there from 1st of March 2020 up to the present day, and that is 86,194. And the second figure is a positive test result for COVID-19 was not received, but COVID-19 is mentioned on the death certificate. That gives you there 5,310. And basically all these tabs are those two figures split between regions, age and hospital trusts. It gives you a graphical representation there of these figures, which is very handy. So you can see any peaks and troughs there. The most useful one, I think, is the hospital trust. So you can find out how many people died at certain trusts on a certain date. A lot of people, including myself, were doing freedom of information requests to actually get this data at various points. So it looks like they've actually put it up on the internet now, and we can have a look at this trust data here. It's quite a big document, and it's a lot of data on there because it's collected every day from the 1st of March, but it's worth downloading and having a look at. Okay, so this is the second document now, and it's entitled COVID-19 Total Deaths Weekly Summaries. And description: this file contains information on the deaths of patients who have died in hospitals in England and have tested positive for COVID-19. So this is basically the first set of figures that you got in the daily one, because there was two sets of figures there, wasn't there? This one basically gives you different descriptions of the deaths. So you get here breakdown by ethnicity there, and also you get another one for ethnicity. It's just a different format. But then you get deaths by gender, so you can see sort of male and female, how many have died, and it also gives you age brackets there as well, and the total figures. This one's quite a useful one because it gives you the data in a more compact format. And there you get conditions. So if somebody's got a pre-existing condition and they've died, it gives you the amount of figures there. And as you can see, 82,465 people died with COVID with pre-existing conditions. So, what did they actually die of? Did they die of COVID, or did they die of the pre-existing conditions? Again, we'll never know, because this is how the figures are manipulated. So carry on then. This one's just another version of the condition in different format, but this one's more interesting because it tells you the different pre-existing conditions that people have died from or died with COVID from. So you see mental health, learning disability and autism. Now, how can that be classed as a pre-existing condition? Because you don't die from having a learning disability or autism, do you? Things like asthma, you can understand that. Chronic kidney disease, yes. But learning disability or autism, there's some weird stuff going on with these figures, with the way they're registered. It also says here, additional data showing the deaths of people with learning disability or autism, which have been reported through the Learning Disabilities Mortality Review Programme, are published at, and it gives you the URL there as well. I'll include that in the description as well if you want to see that. But basically, that's the summary of this document. They're both quite useful, but this is probably the more useful for looking at breakdowns of the figures, because it gives you the better breakdowns of them, and it's a bit more compact as well. These spreadsheets cover COVID deaths in hospitals in England only. The daily one contains 2 sets of figures: tested positive for COVID-19 at time of death, and a positive test result for COVID-19 was not received, but COVID-19 is mentioned on their death certificate. The data is presented by region and date, age bracket and date, hospital trust and date. The weekly one contains information on the deaths of patients who have died in hospitals in England and have tested positive for COVID-19. This data is presented as ethnicity and date, gender, age and date, pre-existing conditions, age and date, pre-existing conditions with details of conditions and date. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see when new videos come up. As always in my videos, I suggest you do your own research on this subject as well. Look at the links in the description below and also make your own mind up. And take a trip further down the rabbit hole.